Hey there, we're looking at reporting category 5, which is the study of geography. This kind of covers all of the different standards and all the different topics in world history up to 1500, and we're going to cover mostly things that are related to geography. So, when we're talking about geography, we're talking about 5 different themes. Movement, so looking at the movement of people, goods, and ideas. The region, an area that has similar unifying characteristics. Location, which is the position on the Earth's surface. Human and environment interaction, so the interaction between people and their environment. And then place, these physical features and human features of a certain area. So the very first map that you're likely to be asked about is the movement and migration of early people, Homo sapiens, from East Africa, which is where Homo sapiens originated, in this region of the world right here, all the way into Europe, Asia, and eventually the Americas. Early hunter-gatherers were moving from place to place, and they were nomadic because they were dependent on wild plants and animals, and so often these people moved throughout the world trying to follow those animal patterns. Next up, you've got ancient river valleys. These river valleys offer rich soil and irrigation water because they are so close to the river. This is going to be really great for agriculture because these civilizations are emerging during the Neolithic era. It also has a tendency to be easily protected from the people who were still nomadic. There's 4 river valleys that you need to be able to identify on a map. Mesopotamia is the very, very first one at the very top of the Arabian Peninsula. Mesopotamia formulated between Euphrates and Tigris River Valley. The next one is Egypt, which is located in Africa. It originated on the Nile River Valley. India, which is located on the Indus River Valley. And then China, which was located on the Huanghe or the Yellow River Valley. Other notable early civilizations are the Hebrews, the Phoenicians, and the Nubians. In this map here, you see the development of Phoenicia kind of along the Mediterranean Sea. This is still a part of the Arabian Peninsula here. Then you have the development of the Hebrews between the Mediterranean Sea, which is here, and the Jordan River, which is here. Nubia is located on the Nile River south of Egypt. Here's Egypt up here, and then Nubia was located down here on the bottom half of the Nile River. Ancient Greece, there's only really 3 parts to ancient Greece that you need to know well. This is Greece as a whole. Then you have Sparta down at the very, very bottom, Athens in the middle, and the Aegean Sea, which is the ocean sea area that kind of ran in between Greece and Asia Minor. There's a couple more things you need to know about ancient Greece geographically. Geographically, they had a very limited arable land suitable for farming, meaning that they didn't have a lot of really fertile soil. It was pretty mountainous through Greece, and so that kind of limited the farming that they were able to have. They, however, did, since they are located on the Mediterranean Ocean, and this led to the spread of Hellenistic culture and made them very extensive traders. Because they used trade so often, they shifted from a barter economy to a money economy. Again, like we said earlier, it is really mountainous, which is going to make sure that city-states, these individual city-states, are developing throughout the ancient Greece. The Greek cities were designed to promote civic and commercial life, aka they had a marketplace in their city, and they also had a place where everybody could meet and have public debates. Because it was located on the Mediterranean, as they start to overpopulate and they're no longer able to fit on the country of Greece, they start to colonize other locations and spread their empire. Rome is located on the Italian peninsula. Italy is pretty easy to recognize because it is shaped like a boot. Rome is about halfway up the Italian peninsula, right where the laces would be. At the very, very top, it's the Alps mountains that kind of protected them from invasion, and they were located on the Mediterranean Sea, about halfway from the Mediterranean in general. After the fall of the Roman Empire, you see the development of the Byzantine Empire in the Eastern Roman Empire. Constantinople develops right here. This is a very important city space. Here you see the Aegean Sea that we talked about with Greece that's here. It is located right off of the Mediterranean, which makes it really great for trade with people of Russia because the Black Sea is right here. It's far away from the Germanic tribes over here in France that were attacking the Western Empire. You also have its location on the Mediterranean Sea, make it a really good place for trade. And then as you can kind of see here, it's really rocky in here, and so it made it really fortified and defended against any sort of invaders. Islam starts in the Arabian Peninsula and spreads along trade routes such as the Trans-Saharan trade route and the Silk Road that comes through here, the Royal Road area that runs through here, and any of the maritime routes that come through the Mediterranean. It spreads along those. Mecca and Medina are the two largest cities, kind of the most important cities. You've got Medina here and then Mecca down here. All Muslims do a pilgrimage to Mecca as a part of their 5 pillars. It ends up spreading into the Fertile Crescent, which is this area here where Mesopotamia was, and then travels along the Persian and the Byzantine empires. As Islam spreads, the Arabic language also spreads, which is going to be important when we get to the Renaissance, and you see the church scholars translating the Arabic works into Latin. During the Middle Ages, most of Europe was suffering from major invasions. These invasions were particularly by the Angles and the Saxons, the Magyars, and the Vikings. This kind of led to the development of those manors and the castles and the feudal system as a whole because they needed the protection. So those feudal societies that were protected by the knights and they were kind of small allowed for people to be protected. This also disrupted trade, and so many of these manors became self-sufficient as they were trying to stay kind of in their own area. The Angles and the Saxons came from Scandinavia into Great Britain. So did the Vikings. They spread also into Russia, and you see the Magyars coming from this area into what is today modern-day Hungary. Many of the trade routes you need to be able to identify on a map. There's 3 main ones we've talked about. The Silk Road is this green one that kind of runs all across Asia. You have the Trans-Saharan trade route in orange here that runs across the Sahara Desert, as you can see, Timbuktu being right here. And you have the maritime routes that also lead from India and the rest of Southeast Asia. You also have Northern Europe routes that kind of go through the Black Sea here at Constantinople, and also Western Europe routes that go through the Mediterranean into Italy. In the Mesoamerican civilizations, you have the Aztecs. A is the first letter in the alphabet. Aztecs are the first kind of civilization at the top. Then you have the Mayans. The hump in the Mayan is the same hump as in the letter M. And then the Incas is a long straight line, kind of like the I is. Mayan civilizations are located on that peninsula there, and they have lots of rainforests. The Aztecs had arid valleys, which kind of led to like more desert prairie type of surroundings. And then the Incan civilization was in the Andes Mountains and also had a significant amount of rainforests there. Now, the Renaissance started to spread because the Crusades had gone to the Middle East, which on this map is all the way over here. Okay, you got Greece right here, Asia Minor, and then the Middle East is all the way over here. Italy started the Renaissance, and so you see the city-states that had kind of developed as a result of the mountainous regions in Italy. The major cities that kind of developed are Florence, Genoa, and Venice, and there was a trade route that kind of ran through the Adriatic Sea, some that ran through the Mediterranean Sea up into Genoa area. Because of its location on the Mediterranean, they were very, very close to other trade routes, such as the Trans-Saharan trade route and the Silk Road, which made it a prime location for trade with these areas. As trade spread farther north, so did those Renaissance ideas into Northern Europe. Go ahead and take the quiz. It's located in the description of the video below, and we'll see you back here for RC6.